I'm LDE, and welcome to the State of Broken Arrow. Patch 1.0.11, they finally showed up, but they brought problems. Look, after literally 4 months of watching Steel Balaka operate at speeds that would make a Glacier feel competitive, patch 1.0.11 dropped on October 29th, and honestly, it's a mixed bag. Here's the thing. The patch addressed real problems, the kind of problems that the community has been banging the drum about since June. Terminal guidance missiles that weren't reacquiring, cruise missile spam that was completely unchecked, and guard tank pulling up every Russian specialization win rate. But, and this is a big but, in fixing these problems, Steel Balaka accidentally broke some other stuff. So we're in this weird space where the patch is genuinely good, but also genuinely frustrating. Because now there's new bugs on top of the old problems that still aren't fixed. So let me break down what's actually happening here. The wins and what they got right. Easy anti-cheat. It finally arrived. 4 months. That's how long it took to add EAC. For context, it's free. It integrates in about 5 minutes. Games launch with it day one, all the time. But okay, they did it. Implementation's actually solid, and you can launch offline, so no EAC, do whatever you want in single player, or online, EAC active with multiplayer access. That's the right approach. It respects player choice while protecting the competitive integrity. Is EAC going to solve everything? No. Sophisticated cheats evolve, but it's a real layer of protection, and frankly, the communities needed it like 6 weeks ago, even more. Terminal guidance fix, the silent killer. This one's wild. US forces rely heavily on terminal guidance missiles, especially javelins, and their air-to-air missiles, as well as the Russians for the air-to-air. For months, these missiles weren't reacquiring targets properly. Players thought they were just bad at the game, and it turns out their missiles were literally broken. That explains so much about why the US win rate was in the gutter, because the fire and forget missiles were fire and forget what the fuck they're doing. We're talking about a bug that was silently sabotaging an entire faction for months. So yeah, big credit for fixing it, but also, how did this slip through for 4 months? Cruise missiles, a multi-layered solution. Here's where you see Steel Balaka actually think about balance. They didn't just tweak one number, they attacked missile spam from like 5 different angles. The bug. Firstly, the KH-32, which is an air-launched ballistic missile, was classified as low altitude when it should have been high altitude. Translation, the long-range AA would have to wait until it was in the low altitude vision range, or range, whatever, to engage that target. With a mixture of the desync plus having to wait longer, meant the KH-32 would be able to get through a lot easier, which was seen a lot during the patch of 1.0.10. So, they fixed that, which is great. Now, the economics, right? Selling units after firing now costs double the missing ammunition. This directly punishes the fire and sell exploit, if you want to call it. I think it's more of like a feature at this point that was breaking the meta. And then massive resupply costs for increase for the KH-59 Mark 1 and Mark 2, and then which went from 32 to 50, and then the KH-32 going from 60 to 80. Now the mechanics. We have cruise missile aim times going from 1 second to 3 seconds, so this prevents launching missiles at last second to make them undodgeable, which is seen a lot with the Su-57, and then the other Russian aircraft. Please remind me in the comments. I don't play Russia, so I usually forget the precise names. This also rewards, good positioning and defensive preparation, right? So the damage tuning, the KH-59 damage was increased was reduced from 10 to 8.5. It like sounds small until you realize the 2 of these from Su-57 could literally delete any tank. This was actually breaking the US armor viability. The designer notes explain the reasoning for each change. That's transparency. That's what the community has been asking for since July. Guard Tank gets brought back to reality. Guard Tank was overperforming, and it was dragging up every other Russian specialization with it. The analysis in the patch notes was actually sharp. All specializations within a faction are linked together, so if one is overperforming, all others benefit from it. They understood the problem. The solution was surgical. T15 Barbarous moved to the vehicle tab with a 2-card limit. The 57mm variant went from 50 to 100 for the cost. The BMP-T Terminator base cost jumped from 160 to 190. APS charges on the Kurganets and the Boomerang cut from 4 to 2 to match the US equivalents. And then multiple units shuffled between specs for internal balance. This wasn't a nuke guard tank from orbit. This was a let's bring it back in line with mechanized, which was severely underperforming. Before we move on to the US buffs, we got a shout out to our sponsor, your moms and dads wallets over on Patreon. Thank you to all my Patreon subscribers for using your moms and dads wallets on Patreon to support me and my family. Appreciate you. And once again, thank you again to your moms and dads wallets over on Patreon for supporting the channel. Now, for the US buffs, targeted and meaningful. The javelin range, minimum engagement range, went from 200 to 100 meters. This was strangling javelins in urban combat. Now they work where you'd actually use them. It's a simple fix with huge impact. The Slam Ram SHORAD conversion, it's 130 to 100. Honestly, this might be the star of the patch in my personal opinion. They literally repurpose an existing unit to fill a massive gap. Now it's basically a TOR/OSA equivalent. It's a short-range AA with helicopter engagement capability. Multiple creators called this one the most exciting change. And I get it. It's a creative rebalancing that shows they understand faction asymmetry. The C-RAM gets a C-RAM, so that's pretty cool. It's 11 fire and forget missiles with radar guidance, and you can move while the radar is on. That's a substantial SHORAD buff on top of these Slam Ram changes. The only concerning thing is it's 200 points, but from what everyone's saying, those 200 points are worth it to invest, excuse me, because of how great it performs. JSOW cluster bomb damage went from 7 to 8.5. The JSOW was underperforming due to the fact that pairs couldn't kill 14 HP IFVs. Now they can delete up to 16 HP targets. Plus, the US has more cluster options than Russia, so this is indirectly boosting the US win rates with smart indirect balancing. The Bradley price went down by 5 points. It's a small but meaningful change for deck construction. Moving on to the server-side architecture, it's playing the long game. Transitioning towards server authority is the most important technical work here, even though you can't see it yet. The devs straight up said it might increase server load while they find the optimal balance between performance, stability, and quality, and that's honest communication about the challenges. It's refreshing, honestly. This addresses desync issues that get mistaken for cheating, actual exploit vulnerabilities, and then false positive accusations. So will it fix desync tomorrow? Nope. Is it the essential foundation to do so? Absolutely. Now, moving on to the Halloween zombie mode. It's a community engagement. I love it personally. I think it's a great thing to do, have little seasonal events like this. I've called for this for a couple years now. I always wanted like April Fool's events and all that kind of stuff. Back in 2023 in the Discord, I was asking for this stuff. So, with the most popular workshop scenario being the zombie defense that was created by a joining player, instead of just leaving it to the modders, Steel Balalaika built official support with dedicated zombie assets. They created walkers, runners, smokers that trail smoke and explode, spitters that ignore building cover and can engage helicopters, and then boomers and throwers with actual unique mechanics, not reskins. And they all have skins. It's pretty cool. Although if you zoom in on the skins, it kind of just fucking stand up and just like move forward. And it's funny. I get it. It's a good, fun time. Although when I played it, the game bugged out and crashed on me. So womp womp for me. And I didn't go back to it. But I enjoyed it when I was playing it. It is a 1 to 4 player co-op with custom atmosphere. And this is kind of community engagement that builds goodwill when everything else is frustrating. The mission editor with content creators get supported. Dozens of nodes now are network synchronized. Lua API updates comprehensive documentation overhaul. Doesn't sound sexy, but robust mod support keeps games alive long term. For a game that launched with this feature missing, addressing it properly matters. The problems. Why are people still frustrated? New bugs introduced by this patch. Here's where things get messy. So, Vulcan HD Gaming, his recent breakdown. This patch has actually added bugs that weren't there before. The scoreboard bug. Scoreboards are showing doubled kills or losses. Reddit is full of people with permanently corrupted profiles showing 25,000 losses. A quote from Vulcan. The scoreboard is useless right now. People are going to get real scuffed profiles where all the stats are permanently attached. This is a hot fix, immediately level problem, not a we'll look at it next patch kind of problem. Connection issues. Players who had zero connection problems before now can't connect to matches altogether. And desync persists. Despite server-side architecture work, multiple streamers and just players reported desync hasn't actually improved yet. So, the terminal guidance bug fix is good, but the underlying desync problems are still there. Vulcan's plea, and he's right, please hotfix your game this week. Don't wait another month because you're going to keep killing the player base. The content creator exodus that nobody's talking about. Here's something Steel by Laka needs to wake up to. Content creators are abandoning this game in droves. And I'm not just talking about small channels, I'm talking about established creators with hundreds of thousands of subscribers who gave the game a genuine shot and then quietly left. So we have the big names who left after the launch hype. Pixelated Apollo, who has 975k subs. He's one of the biggest Total War and RTS voices on YouTube. He made content during the beta and tried the game at launch. The last substantive Broken Arrow video was on July 19th. He's back to Total War content. When a creator with nearly 1 million subscribers gives your game a month and doesn't stick with it, that's catastrophic for discovery. You have Karmacut, who has 702k subscribers. He's a massive tactical milsim streamer. He made his first impressions video in April 28th, titled My First RTS Airfield Seizure. Broken Arrow has me hooked with 121k views. Followed up with a video on May 3rd, and then after that, just silence. He moved back to Squad, Ready or Not, and Tarkov. A 700k subscriber channel called your game something to be hooked on, and then he quit after 2 videos. The Devil Dog Gamer, he has 566k subs. He's a major milsim content creator, early adopter who is genuinely hyped. He made open beta videos in February 2024, a launch video in June 17th titled This New RTS is Amazing. Multiple videos through July, including This Battle Was Chaos on July 4th, being his last video on July 4th. That's 4 months ago. A creator with over 500,000 subs called your game amazing and quit after roughly 3 weeks of coverage. Got Daily Tactics with 426k subscribers, a battle simulator specialist. He made 5 Broken Arrow videos between June 24th and July 19th during the initial launch hype. The last video was October 31st. The zombie mode, 4 months later after his previous video. His pattern tells a story, 5 videos in 3 weeks, the complete silence over 3 months, or 4 months rather, until the zombie mode brought him back for 1 video. A creator with nearly 500,000 subs gets excited at launch, then the interest died completely. You have Moydog with 270k subscribers, a major milsim and RTS creator. He streamed the most anticipated RTS in years on June 16th launch day to 8.5k views. He made several videos with Vulcan HD Gaming in June to July, then gradually stopped. Now he is back to Arma and Squad content. When a 270k creator hyping your game as the most anticipated RTS in years quietly walks away after about a month, that tells you something broke the experience. Then you have Stealth17 Gaming, who posted a total of 3 Broken Arrow videos. The first one was April 11th, which was a campaign preview. We have June 20th and the 22nd, which were campaign missions. And then radio silence for months until October 14th with a community announcement permanently stopping coverage because views are too low. Never really committed. He tested the waters, saw a terrible algorithm response, and gave up. It's fine, baby. Don't worry. It's fine. You're doing great. And then going on to the disappeared core creators, just one of the main ones, who is the autistic armchair general, or Tag, as a lot of people know him. His last Broken Arrow video was on August 21st, the actual one. Over 2.5 months of silence. This is the creator who built the entire Tag system teaching framework. He developed comprehensive educational content infrastructure. He built his channel's identity around Broken Arrow, and he didn't announce leaving. He just stopped. His channel now covers other games, kind of. You know, when your most dedicated educational creator silently walks away, that's the death knell. And then, love him or hate him, there's a lot of controversy, if you will, with it when it comes to Tag. He brought eyes and views to Broken Arrow, and him leaving is a detriment to the game. Bandana, he's a camp plan playthrough and patch overview creator. On August 12th, he had a video titled Patch 1.09, the overview, Too Little Too Late. And then that was his last video before the recent patch, which was, and then his most recent video was 3 days ago, and that's about a 2-month gap. And his 1.0.11 video opens saying, "I've simply been a little disappointed with the launch. Quality production, but even he took a massive break." Then we have Vulcan HD Gaming. He's still streaming, but frustration is audible. During the recent 1.011, he quoted to say, "They love to shoot themselves in the foot, don't they? It makes me really unenthused to play double streams of Broken Arrow this month. Literally begging for hot fixes midstream because bugs kill content creation." And then I hit him up in DMs, and I'm gonna keep those words private. But he went into more detail. Vulcan, if you want to describe it more in the comments, that's cool. Otherwise, I'll just keep that conversation private. Then we have Beetle Rush with 149k subscribers, and my baby with 4 million subscribers over there, who's really trying to get into this conversation with us. He's very frustrated. He's one of the most respected tactical gaming channels, known for his XCOM Long War content. He's still actively covering with educational content and match reviews. On September 4th, he had a stream for Solo Queue MP, new player friendly. However, output is down from launches near daily streams to more sporadic coverage. You want Beagle's Australian ass to stream more? Is that what you're saying? However, output is down from launches near daily streams to more sporadic coverage. His Steam review noted, the skill ceiling is high, but the skill floor is intimidating, and it's not beginner-friendly. Even Beagle's scaling back. Then you have Saucy, or Bolt Sauce. He's a competitive RTS player. He's still consistently posting, but with noticeable reduced enthusiasm. The most recent, October 29th, the last one, it's called The Last One. His June launch video, nail-biting clash, showed genuine excitement, but recent videos have more measured tones. One of the few maintaining semi-regular uploads, but frequency is down from the launch period. And then we have one channel that is the exception. They're active and growing. It's Giamma. He's an Italian creator. He's still very active, and he's possibly increasing the output. Most recently, on November 2nd, he has multiple videos per week covering multiplayer, deck guides, and patch reactions and the zombie mode. He's one of the few who hasn't reduced output at all and appears to have maintained even increased frequency. So the Italian Broken Arrow community seems more stable than the English-speaking audience, which is kind of interesting to look into, especially because I was doing research on all these content creators for a little bit, and then seeing that stand out was interesting to me. And then going into more of the international holdouts, I'd like to call them, we have Corzo, who's French. He's maintaining a consistent output. November 1st was his most recent video, as of today's video, like the date of today's video. And then weekly, Corzo, who is French, he's maintaining consistent output. On November 1st, his most recent video, he is weekly content, but in French. He's one of the few keeping the steady presence. You have Blitz War. He's still active. November 1st, the major update 1.0.11. He's got multiple videos per week. He's holding the line, but output is down from launch on his channel. NBK, who is Ukrainian. He's super active with the current tournament that's going on. If you don't know about the Broken Arrow World Series, you should go check it out. And then October 20th was his most recent video, as of today. And then he's heavily involved in the Broken Arrow World Series, and he's consistently posting like educational and competitive content. Very good content, highly recommend. You got Lima. He's a British Armed Forces officer. His most recent video was October 26th. With weekly uploads with professional military perspective. He also does a lot of shorts, but he's down from near daily videos at launch. And then we have Demo. He does sporadic uploads. He's got October 19th is his most recent. He has a high-level competitive gameplay structure for his channel, and then it's significantly reduced from launch. The pattern tells a story, right? Launch. June to July, near daily content for most creators, massive hype. Early July, daily tactics, Devil Dog Gamer stop completely. August, tag disappears, Bandana takes a break, and content is slowing down everywhere. September, major drop off, many go silent. October, only diehards are posting regularly. November, only a handful of committed creators. You got Giamma, Corzo, Blitzwar, plus one-off patch reactions. So what this actually means, when Karma Cut says he's hooked and quits after 2 videos, the content didn't match the hook. When Devil Dog Gamer calls it amazing and disappears after 3 weeks, something is fundamentally broke. When Daily Tactics makes 5 videos in 3 weeks, then vanishes for 3+ months, the algorithm told him that nobody cares. When Pixelated Apollo gives it a month, then returns to Total War, you lost one of RTS's biggest discovery engines. When Moydog hypes the most anticipated RTS, then quietly leaves after a month, that's your marketing evaporating. When Tag disappears for 2.5 months after building his channel around your game, that's silently very publicly walking away. When Stealth17 explicitly states after 3 videos that the views don't justify the time, that's the algorithm saying nobody's searching. When Bandana's titles videos as too little, too late, that's quality control feedback wrapped in disappointment. When even Beagle Rush notes the game isn't beginner friendly in his Steam review when scaling back content, that's a warning from one of tactical gaming's most respected voices. The creators still standing, like Giamma, Saucy, Corzo, Blitzwar, Lima, NBK, Demo, Vulcan, Beagle, they're carrying this game's entire discovery on their backs. So what Steel Ball Lock needs to do is to get with these, personnel, and then set something up to help them out to get the algorithm flowing better again. To be very, very blunt and clear, this is a death spiral. Big creators drive discovery. When creators with a combined 3.4 million subscribers, Karma Cut, Moydog, Pixelated Apollo, Daily Tactics, and Devil Dog Gamer, gave your game genuine shots at launch and left within weeks, the game stops appearing in feeds for literally millions of potential players. When Tag stops making tutorials, new players have no educational pipeline. When algorithm response is terrible, creators abandon shit for content that performs. The community launched with 38,753 concurrent players. Now we're at 5,900. That's an 84% player loss in 5 months. Content creators are the canary in the coal mine. The big names got excited at launch and left after a few weeks. The dedicated core has gone silent or got frustrated. Only a handful remain, and most of them have been scaled back significantly. They're not singing warnings anymore. They already left the mine. Moving on to another problem. There's still no replays or spectator mode. It's been nearly 5 months. August, quote-unquote, roadmap. Promised in about 2 months. It's November. For a game that positions itself as a competitive RTS, this is inexcusable. You can't review your gameplay to improve. Tournament organizers lack broadcasting tools. Community content creators are hamstrung. The patch notes, silent. No, coming soon. No, we're working on it. Just nothing. On to another huge problem. The campaign save system still doesn't exist. Campaign missions can be 2 to 3 hours on the hardest difficulty, if you're playing it the right way. If you cheese it, you can kind of get around it, but especially if you're going for golds, right? A significant portion of the community refuses to play the game without mid-mission saves. And Steel Balilaka still hasn't done anything about it. It is wild that this even needs to be set in 2025. But here we are. 5 months post-launch, and you still can't save mid-mission. I understood on launch day, maybe it wasn't a current priority, and they wanted to get the game out on time because they had that hard time to get it out. But it's been 5 months. It should be here. There's no reason that it's not here. Vulcan nailed it. He said that save game is literally one of the biggest things that could save Broken Arrow's population. Otherwise, new players hit a brick wall, don't enjoy it, and quit. Moving on to another problem with the map pools, which are stagnant. 0 new competitive maps. No reworks for problem maps like Kaliningrad. Community suggestions, like extracting Oil Rush's northern section into a new map, would be straightforward. The assets exist. Why isn't this happening? Cruise missile counterplay. It's still half-baked. ASFs can't intercept cruise missiles. They're primarily reconnaissance assets, which is valuable, but they should be able to engage cruise missiles with their air-to-air missiles, which would create tactical depth and make air superiority actually relevant against missile spam. Hey guys, real quick. Obviously, this is while I'm editing. Just wanted to clarify something about to talk about with the ASFs. I've been watching and reading and communicating with my my community, and we have talked about how it's a much better thing for the game if it's not ASFs like in total, but just like the super long range missiles. So like your gunslingers, your AIM 260s, and then the Russian equivalent, whatever that is. If you could tell me in the comments, that'd be great. All right, now back to LDE from the past. Shooting down missiles awards 0 points. Your Patriot destroys an 80 supply KH-32. You get nothing. No score, no recognition. You waste your supply score like to shoot the missile, which costs like 200 or something. Sorry if you could put it up for how much it costs. You're shooting that missile, which costs supply, which equals points to engage these targets, right? And then you're putting your Patriot in a position that it's going to have to move pretty soon, to avoid. So you have to do a micro kind of thing and put effort into it. And if it hits the target, the only thing that you get out of that is a unit potentially not dying or getting hit. You should be rewarded for proper defensive plays. Another problem with it is there's no AA target priority for your SAMs. Patriots and S300s and whatever the hell else, they can't choose what they engage. Your expensive SAM might waste shots on cheap recon while cruise missiles bypass it. It might aim at a cruise missile across the map when it has a seed missile coming straight at it. Stuff like that. Basic tactical control that should not be missing. Moving on to the SF and Airborne. Equipment gaps, unchanged. Months of community requests and 0 implementation. Airborne is missing infantry recon teams between LURS, just airborne recon, stuff like that. 6-man teams, 4-man teams, anything. The ISV mortar variants, potentially a 50.81 millimeter or 70.120 millimeter. The F-35A beast mode. The MV-75 Valor transport Humvees with smoke. No reason that those don't have it. It just doesn't make sense. What SOCOM is still missing, the Green Beret CRIF, or SIF, whatever you want to call it. They have a new name now. I forgot. They just restructured it because the CRIF got defunded, and then they restructured it into something else so they can get the funding for it, whatever. But essentially, it's a 12-man direct action squad, which reflects actual ODA structure. The transport MRAPs and Max Pros, also the SUVs, which I called for, which is a non-standard tactical vehicle, which I said in the last state of the game. The asset exists in the game, right? SUV, just make it non-standard tactical vehicle, give it the same armor as a up-armored Humvee, no smoke for that because it doesn't make sense, and then you can fit as many dudes as you can fit in the front and back of SUV. So throw some dudes on the side, whatever, hanging off the sides of it, that kind of stuff. I digress. Anyways, Warpig supply carrying still has voice lines as a supply vehicle, but the functionality doesn't exist. Doesn't make sense. Either change the voice lines or give it the ability to carry supplies. I think the reason why they did this was because they didn't want to give SOCOM a support tab. Because if you give them a support tab, then you have to give them support tab points, and I think they wanted to not do that as a balancing thing, but just give them like 250 points and then put the Warpigs in there or something, you know? Because, I mean, a Warpig with the Fletcher costs like 55 points. So just keep it the same, and then just, because it does not make sense. Just give them a little bit of supply or support, and then make the Warpigs supply vehicles. If you give SOCOM 250 points of support, it's not going to change the game. It's not going to break the game. It's going to make SOCOM just a little bit better. It'll make the SOCOM Airborne 1,000 points, which will make it a little bit better. It's not going to be game-changing, right? And then speaking of the Warpig with the Fletcher at 55 points, the Fletcher still needs improvements. It is, yes, it's not realistic for it to be amazing, but it's so bad that it's damn near laughable. Increase the range. Increase the damage a little bit. Tweak with it, just a little bit. Make it better, right? This is something that is on the Delta Force, which is supposed to be the best infantry in the game. When you shoot the Fletcher at the enemy, it doesn't do that much. So, when you look at it compared to like the SSO's standoff variant with that launcher, how hard that thing hits, I'm not saying that the Fletcher should hit as hard as that, but it should be somewhere in the middle, right? It should do a decent amount of damage. Also, if you have a Fletcher hit your boys, like, it's not going to feel good, all right? Anyways, I digress again. So, moving on, but staying in the same kind of lane. SOCOM, it's still weaker than Airborne. SOCOM represents the apex of the U.S. Special Operations. Their infantry should dominate. Instead, SOCOM infantry performs worse than standard airborne troops. That shouldn't be possible. You're trading armor, artillery, and combined arms for infantry dominance. Getting outclassed by airborne defeats that entire purpose. So, for those dudes who already commented, because I took so long to go from Greenbrace Cliff to over here, SOCOM infantry should be the absolute best infantry in the game, bar none. Hands down. Every single thing that is in the SOCOM infantry tab should be better than any other infantry variant in any other tab. Whether that is Rangers compared to Airborne, whether that is Delta Force compared to Marine Raiders, whether that is, Green Beret Criff compared to Marines, or whether that is, the Ranger Moz teams compared to the Marine SMAW teams. Everything I said there is worse. So it doesn't make sense. Make them better. Going off that, Rangers is still outclassed. Airborne NGSW with Moz, has 600mm penetration. Rangers with RAWs have 450mm penetration. That 150mm gap determines whether or not you kill medium armor or struggle. And then that matters a lot. So if you put just Airborne NGSW versus, Rangers in a silent little box and then they shoot at each other, you'll see that Rangers win that fight. That does not dictate if Rangers and Airborne is better. In a game, which one survives more? It's going to be the Airborne NGSW because they can kill relevant targets on the field more efficiently, which equals surviving, right? It's not that hard to understand. Marines, what they got? Literally one change. Force Recon shotgun ammo went from 10 to 100 shells. Awesome. Great. Huge quality of life buff. But that was it. CAT, combined anti-tank teams, still need help. SRAW still needs help. Marines got one fix. Again, my thing with SRAW and SMAW is the price point should just be switched because SRAW doesn't do the top attack damage against anti-tanks or against tanks. They're an anti-infantry now, which is fine. It's great. Just flip the price because SMAWs do so much more, and they're more. It's everyone and their mom knows that SMAW is better than SRAW, right? So it should just be a price flip to reflect like the actual capabilities. Caps, the missile double standard. Russia has the RPG-30 with actual caps capability. even though it should still activate the active protection system because it shoots a dummy round, which the active protection system hits, and then the actual round goes through and hits. So it should still activate, which is a buff to Russia, by the way, should still activate the APS but go through. The multiple ripple fire options, they have the Coronet, the Metis, the Fagot, that saturate APS charges. And then America has Javelins with top attack but no APS bypass. To be fair, this would be kind of broken given the Javelin prevalence, but hear me out. What is the worst Javelin currently on the US side? The Ranger Javelin in SOCOM, okay? How do you make that better? You give it caps is one thing, or an even better option to buff it is instead of having like the 33%, whatever requirement it is, to going from flyby shoot down to line of sight, make it like 200 meters or something like that. Just a flat standard change so that all javelins go from flyby shoot down, where it goes up and down, to line of sight, which is just a straight shot. Because of the extended range with the javelin, and it's currently 33, it's a percentage base, it'll do the direct attack further out, making it worse, if that makes sense. The Cat Dragon is something else that America has for ripple fire, but it's expensive, underperforming, and underused. It is good against like cheap spam, but it's not the best. Honestly, if you haven't tried the Cat Javelins, it's pretty good. Highly recommend. And of course, I know there's someone in the comments that's like waiting to like write this down, like the timestamp. So here you go. There's no TOE2 Bravo Arrow Gen 3. The problem isn't that, javelins don't bypass APS. That would honestly be broken gameplay-wise. The problem is that Russia gets both caps, the RPG-30, and practical, cost-efficient ripple fire saturation tactics. America gets an expensive ripple fire option that nobody uses, and no equivalent to the RPG-30's caps capability. The pattern, Russian advantage equals realism, American capability equals balance. Pick a design philosophy and stop applying it selectively. Reality check. Community response and the death spiral. Steam reviews, still mixed, leaning negative. Player count, 5,900 concurrent, down from 38,753 peak. October 2025, the average, 3,052 players. Down 20.60% month over month. That's not a small decline, that's people are leaving decline. Reddit thread on October 26th. Why are people still giving bad reviews after devs' dedication to fix the game? The top response? Because developers haven't actually addressed the major issues, and communication has been non-existent for 3 months. That's the mood. Final take. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, while Rome burns. Patch 1.0.11 is genuinely good work with serious complications. The cruise missile changes are comprehensive. Terminal guidance fix is massive. Easy anti-cheat was necessary. Server architecture work is essential long-term, and the faction balance shows sophistication. Steel Balilaka. You deserve credit for multi-layered solutions to complex problems, transparent designer notes, listening to community feedback, actually making changes that address real issues, supporting content creators with editor tools, and creative community engagement. But the problems are glaring. First, why did it take so long? The terminal guidance bug? 4 months. Even further than that, because in the last OBT, it was there too. The KH-32 classification, why wasn't that a hotfix? Guard tank imbalance, the community has stated it for months. These weren't secrets. They were well known, and then you just took your time and didn't say anything. Second, introducing new bugs in a major patch is unacceptable. Scoreboard corruption, connection issues, and desync persistence. This suggests inadequate testing, which you guys are going to fix by using your Patreon members as new testers, which is a good idea in theory. We'll see how it plays out in practicality. Thirdly, content creators are leaving and you're ignoring it. Tag has quit. Stealth 117 kind of quit, especially just the campaign. I know I quit the campaign because no one cared about watching those videos. And then Bandana's disappointed, and Vulcan seems frustrated. When the people creating content about your game stop making videos, discovery dies. When discovery dies, new players stop arriving. When new players stop arriving, your game is on life support. Fourthly, core features still missing. No replays, no spectator, no campaign saves, no new maps, no SF Airborne improvements. The trust problem. One good patch doesn't rebuild 4 months of eroded trust. Reddit is mixed at best. Review scores continue to decline. Player count dropped another 20% in 1 month. Someone with 200 plus hours on Reddit said, "Do I want new players to endure this? Does this deserve my income? Absolutely not." That's your core audience telling you there's a fundamental problem. What needs to happen this week? Hot fix on the scoreboard, hot fix on connection issues, and address game-breaking bugs. This month, November event must deliver actual roadmap with dates. Weekly dev blogs. Do not miss the dev blogs. You promised this back in July, and then when you miss one, you barely even acknowledge it. And they acknowledge the content creator exodus and reach out to them. Try and get them back. Next 3 months, replays and spectator mode, critical for content creation. Campaign save system. New maps, a minimum of 2 to 3. SF Airborne improvements, ASF cruise interception, and AA score credit. Ongoing should be consistent monthly patches, transparent communication, tests before release, which I do have a lot of faith in, and support content creators. Have a dedicated Discord channel. Have direct content or direct communication with them. Ask what they need and support them so that they get more people back into the game. The bottom line, Broken Arrow launched with 30,000 plus concurrent players. Months of slow fixes, broken promises, and silence evaporated that momentum. Patch 1.0.11 is a genuine recovery attempt. Cruise missiles show exemplary balance work. Faction changes demonstrate sophistication. But introducing bugs while core features remain absent and your content creators abandon ship, that's a death spiral. Tag created an entire teaching system and walked away. Stealth 117 explicitly said the game doesn't justify his time. These aren't just numbers. These are people who wanted this game to succeed and gave up. The community's patience isn't infinite. You've shown you can deliver when focused. Now prove this is the new standard and not an exception. Because right now, you're moving forward while somehow shooting yourself in the foot and watching your content creators walk away. It's impressive, but in all the wrong ways. Fix the scoreboard, add replays, get a roadmap out. Talk to your content creators before they're all gone. Do that, and maybe the player count stops declining. Maybe Tag comes back. Probably not. Maybe Stealth 117 gives campaign videos another shot. Maybe new content creators come back and stick around. Don't, and this patch becomes a speed bump on the way to irrelevance. Your move, Steel Balilaka, the clock's ticking, and your content creators are already leaving. I'm LDE, and I want nothing but the best for Broken Arrow. I'll see you guys next time. Scratch that, Mr. Editor.